Hey brother, listen. There's a rare kind of masculine energy that doesn't need to bark orders, doesn't have to shout to be heard, and never resorts to threats or demands to assert itself. It simply exists with quiet authority. When that energy steps into a room, it changes the entire atmosphere, not because it's trying to dominate or control, but because it absolutely refuses to be controlled by anyone or anything. It moves through life with a composed confidence that is unshakable and unfazed by noise or chaos. This energy is subtle, but unmistakable, calm, collected, unbothered. It's this very force that disarms a woman's attempts to play you, not because you're scheming to outsmart or manipulate her, and not because you punish her when she steps out of line, but because you never gave her the chance or permission to treat you like a game in the first place. You have to understand, man, feminine energy, by its very nature, will always test boundaries. It flows with emotion and movement, seeking to feel your edge, to gauge your stability, to see if you have the strength and stillness to carry it without faltering. When you haven't yet built that calm, grounded, masculine core inside yourself, your instinct is to respond emotionally. You match her chaos with chaos of your own. You become defensive, reactive, maybe even needy. The moment you step into that reaction, you've already fallen into her frame. She's not just testing you anymore. Now you're proving yourself to her. And brother, the second you find yourself in a position where you need to prove your worth, your power has already slipped away. But when you've done the real work, the internal work of growth, healing, and self-mastery, when you no longer seek approval, validation, or attention from her or anyone else, something powerful happens. You become a mirror. And a mirror can't be played. It doesn't chase, it doesn't react, it doesn't flinch or break under pressure. It simply reflects back the truth of what it sees. And when you hold that kind of energy, that reflection shows her exactly where she stands, with crystal clarity and unwavering firmness. If she disrespects you, you don't engage in arguments. You don't plead your case or try to convince her why you deserve better treatment. You simply detach quietly, completely, without fanfare. That silence, that absence of drama or desperate explanation lands far harder than any shouting match ever could. This kind of masculine energy is anchored in one foundational principle above all else: emotional self-control. You refuse to let her attitude or behavior pull you out of your center. A delayed response doesn't trigger insecurity or panic. You don't feel the need to check in, follow up repeatedly, or chase down explanations like a desperate player. Instead, you lean back with calm intention. You watch, you observe her patterns without judgment or immediate reaction. From that place of grounded observation, you make your choices, deliberate, clear, and unshakable. You don't play her game by reacting or retaliating. You simply remove yourself from the table, not with noise or spite, but with quiet dignity. Your peace is too precious to be risked on unpredictable, unstable energy. One of the clearest signals of this masculine power is non-urgency. When she attempts to provoke you through cold distance, prolonged silence, sarcasm, or flirting with other men, you don't bite. You don't scramble to win her back or speed up your efforts to regain favor. Instead, you slow down. You understand that rushing is emotional and reactive, but stillness is strength. When she sees that nothing she does can move you off your square, that your rhythm isn't dictated by her mood swings or games, she realizes she no longer controls the tempo of your connection. And that shift alone tilts the entire dynamic back in your favor. You must be willing to walk away early. Not after she's played you multiple times, not after you've given her everything and she's shown you her worst. No, early. The moment you detect flakiness, inconsistency, games, or subtle disrespect, you don't panic, confront, or deliver another speech about your worth. You simply fall back. And make no mistake, this retreat isn't passive. It's a powerful message. It tells her plainly, I don't waste my energy arguing with people who think they can play me. I just stop showing up. A man who can do this, who walks away without bitterness or anger, is rare. This energy also comes with an absence of fear, the fear of loss. And that fearlessness, that's what truly unsettles her when she realizes you aren't afraid to lose her. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her. The girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes, because here's the truth. Right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing. But I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. You're not out here trying to lock her down, trying to control every step she takes or manipulate her decisions. Real masculine energy isn't about holding someone captive or bending them to your will. Instead, you stand firm from a place of complete wholeness and self-sufficiency, a place where your mindset is, I don't need you to be complete, but I choose you freely. That distinction is profound. It's the difference between desperation and sovereignty. When a woman truly feels that from you, when she understands that your love isn't a cage or a trap, but a rare privilege reserved only for those who meet your standard, the game playing ceases. Not because you've scolded her or issued ultimatums, but because she recognizes the genuine risk of losing a man who walks away without fear or hesitation. You don't have to play it cool or put on a facade of detachment. You are cool, and that coolness isn't emotional coldness or indifference. It's a deeply rooted internal regulation that comes from knowing yourself at the highest level. You've spent time building a foundation of clarity around your path, your purpose, your identity, and it's unshakable. You're not distracted by fleeting desires or desperate for validation. You don't obsess over text or reactions. You're not emotionally scattered or pulled in a million directions. You know exactly who you are, and that certainty radiates from you. Because of that clarity, she cannot bend you or shape you into someone else. You aren't malleable clay in her hands. You're a solid form, steadfast and grounded. And here's the real power. When she realizes she can't change or shape you, she's left with only two options. She can either rise to meet you where you are, or she can walk away. And that choice is powerful because it's voluntary. It's not forced, it's not coerced. It happens because the man before her moves intentionally, not reactively. He doesn't shift his stance or emotional state just because she does. He maintains his center, his rhythm, his presence regardless of the tides of her behavior. Another critical aspect of this masculine energy is selective presence, knowing exactly when to show up and when to pull back. You don't reward her manipulative or disrespectful games with your attention. You don't exhaust yourself fighting for her respect or chasing after her when she pulls away. You don't flood her with texts, calls, or explanations when she goes cold or distant. Instead, you consciously withdraw your energy. This withdrawal is not a form of punishment or spite, but a protective act, a way of preserving your standards and honoring your self-worth. By stepping back, you let her feel the absence of your presence, your energy, your attention, and it's in this space of absence that she has the opportunity to adjust her behavior, to show up with integrity, or to reveal that she isn't willing to meet your standard, in which case she'll be replaced. This isn't about vengeance or trying to get back at her. It's about refusing to gamble with your value and refusing to let someone else control the stakes of your worth. Understand this clearly. The higher your standard, the harder she will test you. This is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of potential, because when she sees something different, something rare in you, she instinctively tests to see if you're truly the man you claim to be. She'll push boundaries, challenge your limits, and try to provoke reactions. But the man who embodies this kind of masculine energy meets these tests with unwavering calm and firm boundaries. He knows that his power lies not in controlling her, but in controlling access to himself, his time, his energy, his emotional availability. And that control comes not from manipulation or force, but from a place of deep respect for his own worth and a refusal to settle for anything less than alignment. This kind of man walks through life with an unshakable confidence that says, I choose you, but I don't need you. If you can meet me here, then we walk together. If not, I keep walking, alone, whole and free. And that freedom, brother, that is the greatest power you can hold. When she starts to realize you're not like other men, that you stand apart from the crowd, most guys crumble under the pressure. They fold. They feel the need to over-explain themselves, to justify their actions, to engage in endless conversations trying to fix things or win her back. But that's not you. Your masculine energy doesn't get tangled in long, exhausting debates or emotional ping-pong matches. It doesn't require constant validation or back-and-forth arguments. Instead, it demands one thing above all else: evidence. You don't move based on empty words, promises, or apologies alone. You move based on consistent behavior. When she apologizes but then slips back into the same patterns, you don't waste time pleading or reasoning. You pull back. You don't escalate, you simply create space. She might flirt with other men to provoke a reaction, to test your limits, or to see if you'll chase. But you remain silent, unshaken, unmoved. She might delay commitment, dragging out decisions, hoping to keep you spinning in uncertainty. And in those moments, you vanish with dignity. You don't scramble or try to explain. You don't get caught in desperation or drama. This isn't manipulation, it's something far more powerful: emotional sovereignty. Brother, the moment you stop being emotionally available on demand, the entire dynamic shifts. She can feel the change deep down. She remembers when your energy used to be easy, always there, always ready to give her attention or reassurance, and then suddenly it becomes selective, not because you're angry or punishing her, but because you're looking inward. You're no longer chasing just because she exists. You're no longer overgiving in the hopes she'll finally wake up and appreciate your worth. Instead, you've turned that attention back onto yourself. This pivot, this radical shift in focus from her back to you, that's the power move most men never make. Because when you become the prize in your own life, when you truly value yourself above all else, she can no longer use her presence, her affection, or her games as leverage against you. You are no longer a prize to be won or lost based on her whims. You've established your value independently. And that is the essence of true masculine power: being emotionally sovereign, standing firm in your self-worth, and refusing to be swayed or diminished by anyone's attempts to manipulate or test you. A woman simply cannot play a man who isn't afraid of emotional silence, because silence, that profound, unshakable quiet, is where her games lose all momentum. It's the space where her need for reaction, for validation, for conflict simply dies out. She thrives on attention, on stirring the pot, on seeking reassurance, anything to get you moving, to provoke you to respond. But when you don't engage, when you remain composed, calm and centered, when you carry on with your day, your work, your mission, without shifting your emotional state to match hers, something shifts deep within her. She begins chasing clarity, not because you forced her hand or manipulated her into a corner, but because your stillness made her acutely aware of the absence of your energy. And that absence, silent, unwavering, speaks far louder than any lengthy explanation or desperate message ever could. This kind of masculine energy is rooted in total emotional self-mastery. There is no anxiety about outcomes. You don't panic or spiral when she pulls away, nor do you obsess over a cryptic post or message. You don't flood her with endless text demanding clarity or answers. Instead, you observe, you breathe, you trust yourself. Because you're not engaged in a game of chess with her, strategizing each move and counter-move. You are holding court in your own kingdom, whole, sovereign, and unwavering. She has a choice: to show up with grace, with effort, with genuine integrity, or to self-eliminate by her own actions. And you don't interrupt this process. You don't try to coerce, convince, or beg her to choose you. You simply let your presence be the invitation. Your energy is the standard, and her actions reveal her true intentions. You allow her behavior to speak louder than any words ever could. That is the essence of true masculine power: silent, steady, and sovereign. And in that silence, the truth always emerges. There's something undeniably magnetic and even deadly attractive about a man who is emotionally quiet. Not quiet out of manipulation or coldness, but quiet because he is deeply secure in his own peace. This kind of man doesn't argue over every misunderstanding or waste energy fighting for explanations. He doesn't scramble to defend himself against every little accusation or misinterpretation. Instead, he has built such a strong, unshakable relationship with his own truth that he no longer needs to be understood or validated by others to feel whole and valid. And when a woman realizes that she can't hook him with emotional chaos, that she can't rattle or provoke him into reactive drama, she has two clear choices. She either elevates to meet that energy or she exits the scene entirely. And here's the beauty of it. Either outcome serves your evolution and your growth. This kind of masculine energy isn't about avoiding feelings or bottling them up. It's about owning them with sovereignty and balance. You feel deeply, but you express on your own terms and in your own time. You are not emotionally unavailable. You are emotionally structured. You reveal yourself gradually, in layers rather than floods. You don't hand over your entire soul on the first date. You don't dump your past traumas or emotional baggage onto her hoping she'll fix or heal you. Instead, you move with intention, with emotional weight and clarity. And when you do open up, it lands with power because it was earned, never forced or begged for. And the things that are earned, they're never played with, nor easily forgotten. Brother, you've got to be okay with disappointing those who expect you to be easy, to bend, to give without boundary. Women who are accustomed to men fawning over them, constantly chasing and overgiving, won't know what to do with your steady indifference at first. Initially, they'll try harder. Then, frustration may set in. But eventually, and more importantly, they will come to respect it. Because in a world overflowing with men who fold under pressure, men who crumble, beg and bend over backward just to keep a woman close, you stand apart like a rare force of nature. You are the man who understands that true strength isn't about clinging or chasing, but about holding your ground with unwavering conviction. You are the one who only opens up emotionally when the energy is right, when the timing aligns with your inner compass and your sense of self. This kind of standard, this unyielding boundary, may sting the short-term attention seekers, those who flit in and out chasing quick wins, instant gratification, or surface-level connection. But it awakens the women who are real, the women who value authenticity over convenience, depth over drama, and integrity over manipulation. You're not here for fleeting attention or hollow validation. You're here for alignment, deep, genuine alignment with someone who matches your level of purpose, respect, and emotional maturity. This is a different kind of relationship, one that demands clarity and honesty from the start, not one built on games or compromises that cost you your dignity. The moment you stop over-explaining yourself, when you shed the exhausting need to justify your feelings, your actions, or your worth, you begin reclaiming your true power. You come to realize that your value doesn't depend on others' recognition or approval. You understand deeply that you are not here to convince anyone that you are a good man. That's not your job, and it never has been. Your sole responsibility is to be that man, to embody integrity, strength, discipline, and authenticity, regardless of who notices, who appreciates it, or who chooses to walk away. Because true confidence and masculine energy come from within, from a place of self-awareness and inner peace, not from external validation or temporary affection. When you start showing up with that level of calm, detached confidence, something profound shifts. Women stop trying to play you, stop trying to manipulate or control you. Instead, they begin to truly study you, to try and understand what makes you different, what makes you untouchable in the best way. They recognize you're no longer predictable, no longer an emotional plaything or clay to be molded according to their whims. You become an unshakable presence, solid, grounded, and unwavering in your values and your vision. A presence that commands respect, not because you demand it, but because you embody it naturally. A presence that she must rise to meet, or she risks losing something real, something rare. You are a man who sets the tone, controls the rhythm, and refuses to be tossed around by anyone else's emotional turbulence. Beyond simply standing firm in relationships, you also stop engaging in petty emotional games because you possess a mission and a purpose far greater than romance or validation. Your life isn't dictated by texting rhythms, by late night messages, or by constant checking of notifications. Your sense of worth and your emotional center don't hinge on compliments, fleeting praise, or superficial approval. Your days are structured around a clear life purpose, a defined direction, a burning fire in your gut, a relentless drive towards something far bigger and more meaningful than just being wanted or liked. This mission fuels your energy, sharpens your focus, and keeps you centered, immune to distraction or emotional chaos. You live in a state of intentionality where every choice you make aligns with your goals, values, and your higher self. And when a woman senses that your mission comes first, not in a way that dismisses or disrespects her, but in a way that is absolutely non-negotiable, everything changes. It's like an invisible line drawn in the sand, a boundary so clear and steady that she doesn't even bother to try running her usual games, because she knows you're not just another option or a fleeting distraction. You're a king, and kings don't waste time or energy entertaining chaos or drama. They have bigger battles to fight, higher goals to pursue, and a kingdom to build. Your mission isn't just a side hustle or a talking point. It's the very core of your existence, the anchor that keeps you steady no matter the storms around you. At this point, she's faced with a choice, and often it manifests in two ways. She either softens and respects your frame, recognizing your unshakable foundation and deciding to meet you there with genuine respect and sincerity, or she escalates, testing harder, trying to break down that fortress of calm and discipline. In either case, you've already won because your path remains unwavering. You don't argue to prove a point. You don't chase after approval or validation. You don't bend or shift just to appease someone else's mood or demands. Instead, you observe quietly, assess the situation with clarity, make your decision, and move forward with purpose. This is where true power lies, not in controlling women or manipulating situations, but in controlling access to yourself. The man who masters the gate to his own energy, emotions, and time is the man no woman can play with, because she knows that any misstep on her part means the game is over instantly. You're not a player on her field. She's the one who's trying to enter yours, and you decide if she's welcome. Your boundaries are firm but fair. Your presence is steady but dynamic, and your energy doesn't bend to anyone's whims. So remember this, brother. The kind of masculine energy that stops her from playing you doesn't need to shout louder than everyone else in the room. It doesn't perform for attention or resort to manipulation to get what it wants. Instead, it holds steady, it watches with calm patience, and it moves with precise discipline. It sets the highest standard not through begging, pleading, or trying to be chosen. It simply is. It embodies integrity so deeply that respect becomes automatic. When you live in that energy, when you build yourself into a man who is too solid to be fumbled, too grounded to be shaken, you stop being someone she tests. Instead, you become someone she actively works to keep. Not because you demanded respect or threw ultimatums, but because you became a force of nature she recognizes as rare and unmovable. You become the man who leads with quiet confidence, who commands loyalty through presence rather than pressure, and who moves through life on his own terms, always. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If this message resonated with you or gave you something to think about, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. I've got more real talk, growth, and power coming your way, so stay tuned. Also, I offer limited one-on-one coaching for anyone struggling with girls. If that's you, feel free to reach out. We can work through it together and get you results. Take care of yourself, keep rising, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.